If you recall from earlier in the course, interpersonal relationships are the most common type of relationship and the relationship in which we most often communicate. This video is going to be dedicated to why we form and why we end relationships. There will be an additional video that looks at how relationships develop over time and how we maintain relationships. As humans, we have a fundamental need to develop social relationships. This is what Roy Baumeister refers to as the need to belong theory. According to Baumeister, these relationships help us feel as though we're not alone in the world. Some essential characteristics in the need to belong theory are that the relationship needs to be interactive. That means we need to have frequent communication, and we need to feel emotionally close to the person as a result of this communication. So even though we might communicate with the barista at Starbucks every day, that doesn't fit the need that we have under the need belong theory. It's more likely our friend that we talk to every couple of days and share what's bothering us. Many theories of relationships that we'll talk about a little later in this lecture look at the rewards we receive from interpersonal relationships. These theories argue that we form relationships because of the emotional benefits they offer, the material benefits they offer in terms of help we receive from others, and every once in a while maybe a loan, and then the basic health benefits that they offer. These theories also point out that there's time and material cost when we have a relationship with each other. That's why our actual number of friends is much smaller than our thousands of friends on Facebook or other social media. So looking a little deeper into why we form a relationship, what determines who we form relationships with? The first theory to discuss here is the theory of attraction. This theory says that we form most relationships due to different types of interpersonal attractions that we have to other people. The first type of attraction is physical attraction. That's that we're attracted to people based on how they look. Studies have shown, at least initially at the beginning of a relationship, appearance can be important in developing attraction. However, past the initial phases of meeting someone, physical attraction goes down in importance, and what becomes more important is the personality being perceived as kind and pleasant. Physical attraction is cultural. There are different definitions based on different cultures of what beauty is and what is attractive physical appearance. For example, in America and Western European culture, a thin, physically fit body in women is generally perceived as the most attractive, while in many African and Australian tribal cultures, an overweight body in a woman is considered the most attractive. One factor that does tend to cross culture relative to being attractive is your face being symmetrical. So your right and left sides are similar in proportion to each other, and everything lines up on both sides of your face. The next type of attraction is social attraction. This is when we're attracted to somebody because of their personality. They're sweet or they're humorous, and it attracts us to them. The final type of attraction discussed in the attraction theory is task attraction. And that's when we become attracted to somebody because of their abilities that they have or their dependability. So you might feel positive and have a good relationship and be attracted to a coworker because they're dependable and they help you with other things on the job. Beyond these personal characteristic of attraction, there are other factors that come into play that determine who we're attracted to. The first is our proximity to others. We tend to interact with and develop relationships with those who happen to pop up in our day-to-day life or are in our proximity. We also develop our relationships based on our similarities. That's how much we have in common with someone. Most studies have shown that similarity is way more important than oppositeness, and that the old saying that opposites attract is not really have a lot of scientific basis. While we can dismiss the idea that opposites attract, we are attracted to people who complement us. We call this complementarity. And this means that they add something beneficial to our life, that their difference creates more of a whole. For example, if you're more of a shy person, you may be drawn to somebody that's more outgoing because they help you be more sociable. A second major theory of why and who we form relationships with is the uncertainty reduction theory. This theory basically states that we seek to reduce uncertainty about each other's. So it's arguing that certain people cross our path and we develop relationships because we need to know more about them. Uncertainty reduction theory suggests that the more we know about somebody, the more likely we are to like them. We can all know and think about situations where when we got to know somebody, we didn't like them better. This leads us to the predicted outcome value theory. This theory suggests that when we first communicate with others, we try to determine whether continued communication with them is worth our while or not. If we like what we learn, we continue to invest and self-disclose in the relationship. If we don't like what we learn, we tend to pull back and reduce our disclosure in the relationship. So once we've formed a relationship, what determines if we stay in that relationship or not? Most theories suggest that the reasons for this relates to those cost and benefits of relationships that we talked about earlier. The first theory that discusses cost and benefits is the social exchange theory. And this theory is a theory that predicts that people seek to form and maintain relationships when the benefits of staying in the relationship outweigh the cost. So think about this. In any relationship, we give some and the other side gives some. So what this theory says is that you're always evaluating, are you giving more or taking more? The social exchange theory suggests that you have a comparison level, and this is your realistic expectation of what you want and think you deserve in a relationship. Think about this as your motivation to stay in a relationship. The theory also states that we have a comparison level for alternatives. This is our assessment of how good or bad our current relationship is compared to other options that we have. This theory suggests that when we have a low comparison level, meaning we're not really satisfied with our current relationship, and high alternatives for other relationships, we'll leave the relationship. It also says that if we have high comparison level in our relationship, meaning we're satisfied with it, we're very unlikely to leave that relationship, even if we have other good alternatives. The theory also explains why some people in bullying or abuse type situations don't leave. For example, they might have low comparison level or satisfaction, but they don't really have other good alternatives outside of the relationship for relationships. So, oftentimes, what really helps somebody who's in a poor abusive relationship, if you have that need to help, is be an alternative relationship for them. Another theory that looks at the cost and benefits of relationships is the equity theory. And this theory states that a good relationship is one in which a person's ratio of cost and rewards is exactly equal to that of their partner. This theory has the terms of being over-benefited or under-benefited in a relationship. You're over-benefited when your rewards in the relationship exceed your cost. You're under-benefited when your cost exceeds your relational rewards. The theory predicts that you will leave a relationship in which you're under-benefited in. Please note, it's not talking about any one point in time, but over time in the long run being under-benefited. So this sums up our quick lecture on why you form and why you leave relationships. Have a great day.